and welcome to Meet the Author, a program that is brought to you by Quincy Access Television and the Thomas Crane Public Library. During this show, we will highlight authors and their work. Copies of their books are available for checkout at the Thomas Crane Public Library. Also, the library hosts book clubs for all ages, and you can find out more information about them if you visit the library's website, thomascranelibrary.org.
Welcome. You may remember my next guest as the librarian in the children's department of the Thomas Crane Public Library. Well, she is also an author, and she has joined us here today to talk about her newly published book. First, let me welcome Jane Miller. Jane, welcome back to QATV.
Hi, Mike. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's always nice. It's nice that you and I can actually sit in the same studio now that COVID, though still around, is dwindling.
Absolutely. I think it's been a rough year for everybody, and especially even the patrons at the library. They're dying to get back in. So
we should mention that early on in the pandemic, you actually read from your book and presented your book to folks virtually. And this was prior to it being published. So first of all, congratulations on The Big Pop. That's the book that we will be talking about today.
Thank you.
And so its start goes back quite a few years. So let's go, since you're a new author, let's kind of go back to the beginnings of this book, the genesis of this book.
Okay. Well, I wrote this book in college. I was a education major at Boston State College, and I did a minor in art education. So Professor Wrigley, who was my professor at that time, knew that I was an exchange student at Mass College of Art. So they had a list of projects and that we were going to do at the end of the year, and everyone had taken one. I think this was the last one left, was to write and illustrate a children's book. So he gave that to me to do. So it was interesting. He added a little more to it. He wanted me to take it out to different schools, elementary schools, to find the findings of what the children thought about the book. So it was very interesting. I took it into Boston, and then I took it to the South Shore, and at that time in 1973 it was very different. A lot of children asked why I didn't have a black balloon, and some of the children in Hingham and Milton asked why didn't I have a white balloon, and I tried to explain to them those were shades, colors, and they weren't really on the spectrum of colors. So
well,
it's interesting.
Let's talk about this book because it works on so many different levels.
Mm-hmm, it does. My idea of it was to have someone, a balloon, because most children love balloons, and that's how I established writing about, was that they are sometimes needing friends, and the importance of having them learn to establish friendship. And children of that age, they sometimes are shy, but once they get to learn to be a friend, as you had mentioned, that it makes a beautiful thing at the end of the story. Also introducing colors with them too.
Obviously, again, the multiple levels. Let's talk first about color, because the book is about when colors get together, when single colors get together, the resulting color that is then seen. That's right. One level.
Right. It starts off with like red balloon. He's a circus balloon, and he's very lonely and wants to find some friends. And so he goes through and starts to find something, and in the sky he sees this yellow light, and he says, "Oh, this must be the sun." And as it came closer and closer to him, it was a yellow balloon. And that's the first step of introducing the different colors. So they got to be very friendly and playing around. And as they played together, they would switch and make this third balloon, which was an orange color. So now we have an orange friend in the group. So they, it started off with that. Then the next yellow and red go play together, and they meet two twin balloons, blue balloons. So they come down and they ask, and red and blue balloon came and started playing, and that made a purple balloon. So the illustrations show that the balloons together, but there's two strings together. So it teaches the children that red and blue coming together will make a purple balloon. So, and then yellow and blue coming together will make a green balloon. So it introduces that. And then at the end, all these balloons start to play and dance, and there's a big explosion because they're so excited playing with each other that it made a beautiful rainbow at the end of the story. So,
which is something that we all admire, which is something that we all appreciate, a rainbow. So that's one level. The other level, which we touched upon, is friendship and acceptance.
yes, it's very important that children learn that you know, we have to accept other. Quincy is a very diversified city, and I see it every day in the children's room that, you know, no matter what nationality they are friendships, and try to establish friendships, which I think is important to be able to create a feeling with the children of that age and make something that is outstanding.
I think adults could learn from children.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Because children are so accepting.
Absolutely. As a former teacher, I used to see that all the time. You know, and it was, it's a great thing. And, you know, we should, as adults, take that from our children and be more in tune to what they're doing.
So actually, and I'm sure you see this, the rainbow is a diverse community of people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's something that, you know, we can all learn from and cherish the thoughts of being kind and understanding to everybody.
And at the same time, learn about what color with plus another color makes a particular color. So talk about publishing now.
Publishing now, I was reading the story. At first, the pandemic happened, and we were not allowed to read different books at first. The publishing rights were very different, and so when Julie Rhines asked me, what can we do? And I said, listen, I have a book, I wrote it, I illustrated it. It was in the library in my office, and I said, I will give you permission to read it. So I read it with my granddaughter, Michaela, and that's how it, we put it on YouTube, and Simon & Schuster called me, and a woman, Megan, she asked me would I be interested in publishing it, and I never thought about it. I mean, here it is at my age, I'm publishing a book, but so I talked to them, and they got me ahead and did all the processing. It's a long process to publish a book. You know, people just say, well, you just illustrate it and write it and give it, but there's a lot of steps that are involved in publishing.
Right, you had mentioned that you illustrated it as well.
Yes, I did. I illustrated
Multi-talented.
Thank you. Yes, I did. I illustrated it, and at first I wasn't too sure that I would like to put the vintage pictures because over time it had really kind of discolored, but they convinced me to keep it that format. So I said, well, you're the experts, so I will certainly do that.
We should mention that Julie Rhines is the head children's librarian at the Thomas Crane.
She's the coordinating supervisor, yes. Yeah, so.
And talk about, so the publisher got in contact with you
Yes.
as a result of seeing this
Seeing
online?
on YouTube, yes.
Great.
So,
There is another potential book in your future?
yeah, well, it's funny. My publicist said, I can see sequels. And I said, well, I've been thinking about it. So I'm taking the Red Balloon as the Red character. And I'm right now thinking about him going to the zoo. That's one of those things that children love animals. And being a children's librarian, I noticed a lot of books are done with animals and characters. So I thought that would be, so it gives me ideas. He could go to the Frog Pond in Boston. He could travel the world. So there's a lot of options. Go to a birthday party. That would be kind of fun too. So I have a lot of ideas, but I think I'm working on one. So.
As I sit here listening to you and listening to your story, certainly I think it leaves it open for numerous possibilities.
Yes, it does. So.
Well, I want to thank you for joining me, and I want to thank you or congratulate you rather, on The Big Pop, a children's book which can really be read again not only by children or to children, but an adult should take a read as well.
Absolutely, they'll learn something from it.
Well,
If not color,
That's
diversity.
right. Absolutely. Thank you for joining me, and
Thank you
good luck.
for having me.